Now, ever since I done my gut it, clean it and cooking videos on YouTube, I've been asked many times what knife is that you're using, and even one or two have asked me to do a review of it. So here it is here. Now, I know this knife as either the Frosts or Mora Clipper, and I've had this knife for quite a few years. I've actually bought two of them at the time, and I think originally it was called Frosts, but now it's known more as Mora of Sweden. And since then there's been a few changes in the design. Firstly, the sheath is a slightly different design now compared to this one, and the rubber texture on the grip is a wee bit different than the newer ones. Plus, you'll see in a close-up in this, the name Frosts stainless steel with a wee tiny Mora down in the corner is actually stamped into the blade, while the newer ones either seem to be printed or laser etched into the blade. But otherwise, it's the exact same knife, and they're very good for the money now. If you look on the Mora of Sweden website, you'll see that there is a blistering array of different knives. There's at least, 3 or 4 different examples of this in the fluorescent orange itself. There's a companion 860, either in stainless steel or carbon. There's also a high-vis heavy-duty model with a 3.2mm thick blade. There's one in their craft line for rope cutting with a serrated blade, and you can either get it with a sharp point or with a safety blunted point. They also come in a green colour, Army or Hunter's Green I think it's called. So you really need to look at their website. There's quite an array of stuff. There's bushcraft knives, hunting knives, fishing knives, knives for the kitchen, for butchery, etc, etc. So have a look-see. Now, they all follow roughly the same design. Some of them are stainless steel, some of them are carbon steel, some of them have different thicknesses in the spine, but basically the blade length and handle are all roughly the same. The blade length is about 100mm or just under 4 inches. The depth is about 20mm with the actual cutting bevel about 5mm, and the thickness of the spine is about 2mm on this model. Now, the handle is actually made of plastic that has been moulded directly onto the tang. I don't know how long the tang is in this. There doesn't seem to be any sign of it anywhere. There's no lanyard hole in the back of the handle either, but it's something you could drill yourself if you really wanted one. The actual texture is rubber moulded, and it is a good texture. It doesn't slip around the knife. It's not just slid onto the knife. It seems to be bonded or glued onto the knife. It gives a really good texture, so it does. The sheath now, it's just a plastic moulded sheath, one piece. There's a drainage hole in one end of it, and there's actually not actually a belt loop as such, but a twin spring loaded clip, so you can clip it on and off your belt easily enough. The knife now fits into it. It's about a third length of the handle, fits into the sheath as well. Something you'd see in most Scandinavian knives, and you'll hear it actually clicks into place. It's a friction fit. It does hold the knife quite well. There's no other way of tying the knife into the sheath at all, and you don't really need it. It seems to work quite well. They're pretty cheap, easy to replace, which is a good thing, because the very first one of these I bought, I lost it the first night out fishing down at Glenarm, dropped it between a couple of big rocks into the sea. Now, if that had been one of my more expensive knives, I would have been very peeved off, but this being about £9, it was very easy to replace, so I didn't gurn my eyes out for too long. But depending on the model you buy, you're running anything from about £9–10 up to £15–16. Some of the other bushcraft knives now, I think, are running up into £30–40, maybe more. But it's not a big lot of money to spend on a knife. The actual steel in this here, the blade quality is very good. It takes a very good edge. It's easily sharpened. You'll have seen I've used it on rabbit videos, on pigeon video as well. So it's very good for dressing, butchering small game. And there's nothing to say it wouldn't be just as capable in larger game as well. So for the money, I rate them very, very highly. But again, have a look on the Mora of Sweden website. Have a look what they have. They have a great choice of different types of knives. You know, you're not going to spend a big lot of money, so treat yourself.
If your knife hasn't got a decent edge on it, it's about time to freshen it up. Now, I'm no expert when it comes to sharpening knives, but I can get a reasonably good edge in one when I try. Now, this is just an old India stone that I use for my work in sharpening chisel blades and planes and so forth, and for joinery purposes. And it's a combination stone. One side is fairly coarse and the other side is fairly fine. Okay, it's not the latest diamond stone or Japanese whetstone, but it does my job rightly. The oil I used on it is just a general purpose castor oil. It's a wee bit thicker than WD-40 and seems to do a fairly nice job. You can see I'm keeping a fairly consistent bevel on the knife and then raise the handle as I get to the point. I couldn't tell you the exact bevel as I just do this by feel, but I start off and give the blade 3 strokes on each side. Then I go down to 2 strokes on each side, then down to a single stroke on each side, which I do for 2 or 3 times on each side to even up the cutting surface. You don't have to allow a lot of pressure on the knife, just keep a nice smooth stroke. Once you've done, wipe the blade off and check for the sharpness. Do be careful doing this, I have cut myself before. Then, once you're satisfied, wipe the stone down clean and put it away. Now, since we are going to use this on raw meat, do wash the knife with soap and water or wipe it down with an antiseptic wipe like this before we progress, so that the meat doesn't end up tasting like WD-40.